Hello, I'm Rick Pina, and we are in the DC Innovation Center of Worldwide Technology in the heart of our nation's capital. We are blessed to host many governors and political leaders today with Cisco and WWT, and we have executives from both companies. So I am blessed to be with Ann and Fran. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do. Let's start with Fran.
Thank you, Rick. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm Francine Katsoudas. I'm the Chief People, Policy, and Purpose Officer at Cisco. And so thrilled to be having a conversation about how our people agenda intersects with policy and states today.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Ann?
Rick, how are you? Ann Marr, EVP of Global Human Resources. I'm also president of the company's charitable foundation. Been with the company 25 years and so happy to sit here with Fran and have this conversation today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. So I have two questions for you. Let's start with Ann first. So this question, I'll give you both an opportunity to answer. So it's about the dynamics around the workforce. As we all know, over the last few years, the workforce dynamics have changed drastically, especially around remote work, but also around recruiting and retaining the best talent. So we have some leaders out there who are saying, okay, well, what can I do as a leader to not only enable remote work, but at the same time, create an environment and a culture where there's teamwork and unity and cohesion within my team so that we can recruit and retain the best talent. Let's start with you, Ann.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rick. I mean, you know, the genie's out of the bottle and it can't be put back in. I mean, hybrid work is here to stay and it provides flexibility to a lot of individuals. And I think if you're not looking at that way to recruit and retain the very best talent, you're not going to get them. You're really not. I mean, you know, I think you also have to drive people to the office for that collaboration, interaction. So you really need to balance both. But I think when you look at the workforce and recruiting has changed over the last couple of years as well, but you really have to look at what you're providing in terms of that hybrid model. And you have to really lean into that. And you know, it's all about productivity. You definitely have to have productivity, but if you're not looking at the balance, and what that means for a lot of individuals, we have people that live all over the world, and in the past, they were traveling, you know, if you're in London or New York or other places, an hour and a half commute. Now with hybrid, you can have a couple days where you have basically cut that commute time, and you have a little bit more work-life balance, is what I've heard from a lot of individuals. So that has created that, but you still want to drive people to the office. You still want them, you know, think about worldwide, you know, the culture, the collaboration. So you have to find ways to bring them back, interact with their teams so that they can build camaraderie and some of those things. And there's the energy when you're back in the office. So you have to balance that. And I think leaders need to find ways that if it's meetings, if it's events, or if it's just to say, hey, we have a day where we're going to just get together and have a team building exercise. So you have to really be able to balance both of those. Really, really important.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Fran, your perspective, obviously Cisco has a global presence.
We do, and I would say Ann is right. We can't go back. And we talk about this a lot as well. What I would say is what our people know now is that they can be very effective working from home. And so for leaders, it's going to be so important to create a pool that is more than the work. And I think that's team connection. I think that could be getting to know one another more deeply. It could be an innovation brainstorming session. But I joke now that leaders are event managers because we have to be really thoughtful about how we bring our people in. To your question about what has changed and as it relates to recruiting, I think what connects these two topics is really the work and skills. And so when we focus on the work and when we explain to people, hey, this is how the work is most effective with maybe this type of working balance, they get that, they lean into that. From a recruitment perspective, when you focus on the work and when you focus on skills, I think it allows us to get to diverse talent around the globe, which is amazing. And I think it allows us to tell a story about how, whether someone is working in an office or remotely, we're going to build their skills together with them in service of their careers as well.
Well, thank you both. I mean, that was a wealth of knowledge, and I know that leaders are like, wow, I'm getting insight from two people who have the experience and the wisdom to be able to share that. So thank you so much. The second question, we'll start with you, Fran, is around community impact. So at WWT, we really focus on impacting the communities in a positive way in which we live, work, and play. And both at WWT and Cisco, you have a culture of giving back. So people would say, well, it's just the right thing to do. But beyond being the right thing to do, there is a connection between community impact and business impact. And some people don't see that connection. So can you help us understand how giving back actually drives positive business outcomes?
It's so significant, and I think it's something culturally that we share. So there's a few different ways. The first is, and I heard someone say this recently, which I thought was so powerful, when we give back to the community, it is an element of how we take care of ourselves. There's a self-care in that we're bringing our best selves out, we're getting context on the world. So there's something from an individual perspective that is powerful. I know that as we retain our talent and attract talent, the other thing that I would say is this is a differentiator. And something that we believe really strongly in is that you can build an amazing business and you can do good for the world concurrently. And there have been cases where we have made strategic investments without an expectation of getting something back. But that investment then creates a different type of dialogue. And then what we find is that there's a business opportunity that we never knew about. And I think we have to do what's right and just be open to some of the opportunities that come.
That's a great answer. And also it made it very insightful as well, because it made me think about, all the things and then how you feel when you're going through that experience. Ms. Marr.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I think there's a connection. I mean, I think about Cisco and Worldwide with Global Citizen. We've partnered with them, and their mission and what they do is dynamic. It's just amazing that you can be a part of something bigger than yourselves. And to Fran's point, I think a lot of people we're recruiting are looking for companies that are supporting the communities and where they work and live. I mean, they really, from the center, I mean, they're looking for that because they want that connection. They want to be able to give back, which is so inspiring. But when you think about business, we have strategic partnerships as well with Empower or Boys Hope, Girls Hope, or Hawthorne, that we are looking at those organizations as strategic partners for helping us bring in diverse talent, but we're helping them. We're helping them grow their businesses and what they're doing for community and what they're doing for these individuals by allowing them to have significant opportunities. So it's not a one-way street. It just empowers us as much as it empowers them. And when you think about the workforce and the individuals, these bright young kids that we're bringing into the organization, it is so inspiring, the ideas, the creativity. The diversity is beyond just gender and race. It's all the other things that they're bringing to that problem solving and innovative way of thinking. So it's a great collaboration. But when we can collaborate with Cisco, we're thrilled about that, and we have an upcoming event this fall with Global Citizen again, and we're excited about that.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I feel tremendously fortunate myself just to receive this type of wisdom. As a parent of some millennials, I know that they are really, interestingly enough, focused on the bigger picture. They want to feel like they're part of something that is bigger than just getting a job and working somewhere. So thank you for your time, and for more content like this, please visit WWT.com.